Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and today I am going to make a little prediction because I found something that I think most of you probably don't know about, but it's a potential for a mechanic or something that I think could be included within the Bandle City, expansion set, and I would almost be shocked if it wasn't, because it seems like a thing that both fits the region very thematically, has kind of links already with Bandle City, and also would be a mechanic that you can do a lot of things with, and I would just be surprised if it wasn't already included, and it's been in the game since the very start of the game. But I'd be surprised to see how many of you know what I'm talking about, because if you click on any random card, say Lucian for instance, you have your words like this, quick attack on things, and if I got all of you to write down every single one of these keywords and things like fast and slow speed spells as well, and just anything that you could think that you can hover over on like this, it's in this kind of text thing, like the quick attack is, and it describes what it's doing when you hover over it, like that. How many of you would include this thing as well? I think would almost be none. Because I used to know it was a thing, and then I completely forgot about it, and then it wasn't until a couple days ago that I remembered that this was a thing, and I just started thinking, they're definitely going to include that in Bandle City. And, by all means, in your head right now, start thinking, oh, I bet I know what it is. It's X thing. And we'll see if you are right. Because the thing that I'm talking about is a certain word called trap. Now, if you look at trap, there are a couple cards here like Avarice and Trapper and Unlicensed Innovation, which summons an illegal contraption. But if you look at all the others, they are all the mushroom cards. Because if you right-click on Mushroom Cloud and go across, it describes what a poison puff cap does. And if you look here, there's trap. A word, a keyword, sort of keyword, that's in the game that, as you can see, attaches to another card, trapping it. When the trap card is drawn, perform the effect. Now, at the moment, poison puff caps are the only trap in the game. But I was thinking about what kind of things that they would include in Bandle City, and I was thinking about trickery and traps and those kind of things and mischief and all of that. And for whatever reason, this just hit me like a ton of bricks. Trap. This is something that seems like they why wouldn't they include this? And look, it says here, perform the effect. So they've clearly allowed this to be broadened out. Even though it's only been puff caps that have been in the game since the start, they've clearly left some room for, perform the effect. The other cards could have trap on them in the future, and I think that the Bandle City expansion is the perfect time to do it. Now, why am I so convinced about this? Well, as I just mentioned, trap seems to fit very well thematically with what Bandle City might be about. Yordles playing tricks on each other, trapping things, etc., etc. Seems very likely. The second clue, of course, is guess whose archetype has trap on it? Oh yes, just that, Yordle character, who's perhaps the most iconic Yordle of them all, who, if we were designing the game from scratch and knew Bandle City was coming out, we probably would have thought he'd be in Bandle City. Oh, it's Teemo's archetype. Yes, that has the trap. Oh, that's a pretty, big link that they might go for as well, and also create ways. You could imagine that a champion, one of the champions level ups might be you plant a certain amount of traps in the enemy deck, so that therefore you could play them with Teemo. That could be something like a level up for a champion, so that it can synergize with Teemo really well, because Teemo already does that. Those kind of things I think are very, very possible. But also, it's the flexibility of what a trap could be. Traps could be so many different things. When you think about this, of course we already have the puff caps, which are sort of the damage dealing traps if you want. But you could do so many things to these cards. You could increase their mana cost. You could, give units worse stats, or negative keywords like vulnerable or ephemeral or something like that. You could, have a card even shuffle itself back into the deck. When you draw it, it's trapped. You shuffle it back into your deck. You don't get a draw that turn. Of course, these would all be balanced in different stages. They wouldn't all be the same level. Not drawing a card is really quite a big deal. Or even something like locking a card so that you can't play it for a certain amount of turns, which if the game goes very long and you're top decking, not being able to play that card for 2 turns is a big deal. Because essentially you aren't drawing cards at all at that point. And so I think that trap is something that they could really, really expand upon, and that we could really see them lean into this. It's already in the game. They've already sort of, got the codes for it. I'm assuming that, the Puff Cap has done it all for them, that it wouldn't take much work in terms of that, like the coding aspect of it, which, I'm sure that the coders of the game would be quite thankful for. It probably means that it wouldn't come with as many, like, bugs and loose end, like, Viego has, which would be nice as well. And I just think that it makes so much sense to fit thematically, and, there's plenty of different, champions that they could probably work this in with. And also, as I've just mentioned, it would allow them to create a pretty easy synergy with Teemo if he's the only existing champion in the game that can, put traps in the enemy deck. So I just think that when combining all of those things, you've got the fact that Teemo is the champion that already does it, and therefore it will create a synergy. You've got the fact that traps and trickery and those kind of things and that kind of magical element of Bandle City would fit in very well with this kind of effect. The fact that, they've kind of left this open end, like perform the effect, the fact that it's already there and it's easy to code for them, the fact that it just seems to fit so well, I would be shocked if at least one of those Yodel champions doesn't have this kind of thing where you do something to the enemy deck when they draw cards, something happens to those cards. I would be somewhat shocked. And so I'd be interested to see if any of you agree with me, disagree with me, why you might disagree with me. I'm very interested to see. Of course, we can't really ever know exactly what's going to be in the game. Of course, there haven't been any leaks in terms of like, oh, this is going to come into the game about the Bandle City expansion. So we just don't really, truly, fully, definitely know. But, I think this is a pretty good guess. I think that it seems to fit. It's kind of weird that, they would have this, because necessarily they don't even need to have this card, like, say all this, like, it says plant on random cards in the enemy deck. The mushroom cloud kind of tells you already what it's doing. This could just say deal 1 to your Nexus. It doesn't really need the trap part, which is slightly off center as well, which is kind of annoying. Hope that they fix that. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow, and I believe that, we believe that Monday is when spoilers will begin, so that I will be all over them. And yeah, I'll see you then, I guess, or maybe tomorrow. And until then, have a really nice day. Enjoy the weekend.